The unwelcome visitors. The massive ships materialized at the edge of Sol system without warning. 23 vessels, each one larger than Manhattan, arranged themselves in perfect formation as they approached Earth. Their hulls gleamed with an iridescent sheen that seemed to bend light around them, making them appear both solid and ethereal at the same time. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the United Earth Defense Command, watching the tactical displays with a mixture of awe and concern. She was 52 years old, with streaks of silver in her black hair that she wore like badges of honor from 30 years of military service. The room around her buzzed with activity as officers tracked the alien fleet's approach. "Distance to Earth orbit?" she asked her tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander James Foster. 7 hours at their current velocity, Admiral. They're not responding to any of our communication attempts. Foster's fingers danced across his console, trying different frequencies and protocols. The aliens had been detected 3 days ago when they entered the solar system near Neptune. Every attempt at communication had been met with silence. Now as they approached Earth, the entire planet held its breath. President Marcus Williams appeared on the main screen from his secure bunker beneath Geneva. His usually confident demeanor showed cracks of worry. "Admiral Chen, what's our defensive status?" "All orbital platforms are armed and ready, Mr. President. The lunar base is on high alert and we've activated the planetary shield grid. But honestly, sir, if a fleet that size wants to cause trouble, our defenses might not be enough." The President nodded grimly. "Keep trying to establish communication. Maybe they're just having translation difficulties." 4 hours passed. The alien fleet maintained its approach, ignoring all attempts at contact. Then suddenly every screen on Earth flickered. A figure appeared, tall and imposing, with pale purple skin and 4 arms. Its head was elongated, with 3 eyes arranged in a triangle pattern. When it spoke, the words came through in perfect, if somewhat formal, English. "Inhabitants of the planet you call Earth. I am Supreme Coordinator Vexhal of the Galactic Prosperity Council. Your world has been selected for resource extraction and population relocation. You have 1 planetary rotation to prepare for evacuation. Resistance would be inadvisable." The transmission ended as abruptly as it began. Admiral Chen turned to her staff. "Well, at least they're talking now. Get me a direct line to that ship." It took several attempts, but finally the alien commander appeared on screen again. This time, Admiral Chen was ready. "Supreme Coordinator Vexhal, I am Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. Earth is our home and we have no intention of leaving. Perhaps we can discuss trade agreements or diplomatic relations instead." The alien's 3 eyes blinked in sequence, which might have been surprise. "You misunderstand, Primitive. This is not a negotiation. The Galactic Council has claimed this system. Your species will be relocated to a reservation world where you can live out your existence in peace. And if we refuse," Chen asked, her voice steady, "then you will be removed by force. We have conquered 1,000 worlds, Admiral Chen. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Surrender is your only logical option." Chen smiled slightly. "You know, every bully who's ever come to Earth has said something similar. It never works out well for them." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "You compare us to your petty planetary conflicts? We are the Galactic Council. We control half the galaxy. And yet you've never encountered humans before," Chen replied. "I suggest you reconsider your approach." The communication ended. Within an hour, smaller craft began launching from the alien vessels, heading toward Earth's atmosphere. They were sleek, triangular ships that moved with impossible grace, defying the laws of physics as humans understood them. The first wave of alien fighters descended toward major cities. Their shields shimmered as they entered the atmosphere, protecting them from the heat of entry. They expected to find a cowering population, perhaps some primitive projectile weapons that would bounce harmlessly off their shields. What they found instead was something entirely unexpected. In Tokyo, as alien fighters swooped low over the city, they suddenly found themselves struggling to maintain altitude. Dr. Kenji Tanaka, leading Japan's defensive response, had activated the gravity manipulation fields that humanity had developed in secret for the past decade. The alien ships, for all their advanced technology, hadn't anticipated localized gravitational anomalies. 3 fighters crashed into Tokyo Bay before the others pulled back. Over New York, the aliens encountered another surprise. The city's skyline lit up with directed energy weapons. Not laser beams, but something far more exotic. Humanity had discovered how to weaponize quantum entanglement, creating weapons that bypassed shields entirely by attacking the quantum structure of matter itself. Two alien fighters simply ceased to exist, their atoms scattered across probability space. In Moscow, the aliens found their communications jammed and their navigation systems confused. Russian scientists had perfected electromagnetic warfare to an art form, creating interference patterns that even advanced alien technology couldn't compensate for. Blind and deaf, the alien fighters collided with each other or flew into buildings, but the biggest surprise came in London. As alien ground troops deployed from landing craft in Hyde Park, they encountered something that made them stop in confusion. The humans they faced weren't wearing armor or carrying visible weapons. Instead, they stood calmly, almost peacefully. Then the lead alien trooper took a step forward and collapsed. Then another, and another. Colonel Elizabeth Barrett, commanding the British response, watched from her command post as the aliens fell one by one. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't gravity manipulation or quantum weapons or electromagnetic warfare. It was biological. Earth's biosphere, with its countless microorganisms, its viruses and bacteria, was completely foreign to the alien invaders. Despite their advanced technology, they hadn't considered that Earth itself would fight back. The human defenders wore biofilters that they'd developed after realizing this vulnerability in the aliens' approach. The aliens, confident in their superiority, had no such protection. Within 3 hours, the first wave of the invasion had failed spectacularly. Alien fighters retreated to their capital ships, many carrying sick and dying comrades. The Galactic Council had expected to overwhelm a primitive world. Instead, they'd found a species that had spent its entire evolution fighting. Against predators. Against disease, against each other, and against the harsh environment of their world. Admiral Chen opened a channel to the alien fleet. Supreme Coordinator Vexhal appeared on screen, and even through the alien features, Chen could see distress. "Supreme Coordinator, I believe we should discuss terms," Chen said calmly. "This is impossible," Vexhal responded. "Your technology shouldn't be capable of this. Our scouts reported you were barely spacefaring." "Your scouts saw what we wanted them to see," Chen replied. "Humanity has been preparing for this day for a long time. We knew that eventually someone would come calling thinking we were easy prey." "You deliberately appeared weak?" The alien seemed genuinely confused by the concept. "It's called strategy, Supreme Coordinator. Sun Tzu wrote about it over 2,000 years ago. All warfare is based on deception. You came here expecting sheep. You found wolves instead." The alien's three eyes focused on her. "This is only our first wave. We have reserves. We have weapons that could crack your planet in half." Chen's expression hardened. "And we have something you don't. What could you possibly have that we don't?" "Desperation," Chen said simply. "This is our only home. We have nowhere else to go. That means we'll fight with everything we have. Down to the last human, down to the last breath. We'll use weapons that civilized species would consider unthinkable. We'll sacrifice anything and everything to protect our world." She leaned forward. "Your people have other worlds to go to. You're fighting for resources and expansion. We're fighting for survival. History shows that the desperate defender usually wins against the confident invader." Vexhal was silent for a long moment. "You would destroy yourselves rather than surrender?" "Without hesitation," Chen confirmed. "And we'd make sure to take as many of you with us as possible." Mutually assured destruction is a concept we're very familiar with. The Supreme Coordinator's image flickered as he consulted with others off-screen. Finally, he returned his attention to Chen. "You've made your point, Admiral, but this is far from over." The communication ended and the alien fleet began to pull back, moving to a position near Mars. They hadn't left, but they weren't attacking either. It was a stalemate for now. Humanity's counterstrike 3 days passed with the alien fleet holding position near Mars. During that time, Earth didn't rest. Every nation, every military force, every scientific mind worked together with an unprecedented level of cooperation. Old enemies became allies overnight. Resources were shared freely. Humanity had found its common enemy. In underground bunkers and hidden facilities, scientists and engineers worked around the clock. Dr. Michael Rahman, leading the International Tech Coalition from a facility in Switzerland, hadn't slept in 60 hours. His team was reverse engineering captured alien technology from the crashed fighters. "Their shield technology is fascinating," he told Admiral Chen over secure video link. It's based on manipulating space-time at a quantum level. But here's the interesting part. It has a frequency pattern. If we can match that frequency with an inverse wave, you can neutralize their shields? Shen finished. Better. We can turn their shields into prisons. They'll be trapped in their own protective bubbles. Meanwhile, in orbit, Captain David Park commanded humanity's secret fleet. 20 ships built in hidden lunar factories over the past 5 years. They weren't pretty. Basically weaponized asteroids with engines and life support, but they were armed with humanity's most devastating weapons. Admiral, we're ready to launch Operation Porcupine, Park reported. Chen studied the tactical display. Remember, Captain, we're not trying to destroy them all. We just need to convince them that Earth is more trouble than it's worth. The plan was audacious. Instead of waiting for the next attack, humanity would strike first. But not with a direct assault. That would be suicide against the superior alien fleet. Instead, they would use guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks, and psychological warfare. It began with the virus. Not a biological virus this time, but a computer virus. Humanity had learned from the captured alien technology that the Galactic Council's ships were heavily networked, sharing processing power and information constantly. It was efficient, but it was also a vulnerability. The virus was delivered via a simple radio transmission, hidden in what appeared to be another attempt at communication. It was elegant in its simplicity. It didn't try to destroy or control. It simply introduced doubt. Every calculation made by the alien computers would be off by a tiny fraction. Not enough to be immediately noticed, but enough to compound over time. Within hours, the alien fleet began experiencing problems. Navigation was slightly off. Weapons targeting was imprecise. Communications had barely perceptible delays. The Supreme Coordinator, monitoring from his flagship, grew increasingly frustrated as system after system reported minor but persistent errors. That's when humanity's ships struck. Captain Park's fleet emerged from behind lunar orbit, accelerating at speeds that should have torn the ships apart. Humanity had learned to use controlled gravity fields not just as weapons, but as inertial dampeners. The ugly asteroid-like ships moved with surprising agility. The first target was an alien supply vessel at the rear of their formation. Humanity's ships didn't use energy weapons or missiles. Instead, they used kinetic weapons. Basically, they threw rocks. But when those rocks were accelerated to significant fractions of light speed, they became devastating. The supply ship's shields, already compromised by calculation errors, failed to fully deflect the kinetic strikes. The vessel vented atmosphere and began to list. Before the alien fleet could respond, the human ships scattered, each taking a different trajectory. Some dove toward Mars, using the planet's gravity well to slingshot themselves to new vectors. Others activated stealth systems based on the aliens' own technology, becoming nearly invisible against the background of space. Supreme Coordinator Vexahal ordered his fleet to pursue, but the virus made coordinated action difficult. Ships nearly collided as their navigation systems disagreed. Weapons fired at empty space as targeting systems glitched. Then came the psychological warfare. Every alien ship began receiving transmissions, not from Earth's government or military, but from Earth's people. Billions of messages in every language from every culture. Some were defiant, others pleading, many were simply confused. But together, they painted a picture of a species that was chaotic, unpredictable, and absolutely unwilling to give up. Mixed in with these genuine messages were carefully crafted psychological operations. Images of Earth's history, wars, disasters, recoveries. The message was clear. Humanity had survived everything the universe could throw at it. They would survive this too. But the real masterstroke came from Dr. Lisa Wong, a xenopsychologist who had been studying the alien communications. They're not conquerors by nature, she explained to the War Council. Look at how they phrase things. Galactic Prosperity Council, resource optimization, population relocation. They see themselves as administrators, bringing order to chaos. So? President Williams asked. So we show them that humans are ungovernable, that trying to administer us would be a bureaucratic nightmare that would drain their resources for generations. The plan was brilliant in its simplicity. Earth began transmitting its legal codes to the alien fleet. All of them. Every law, regulation, statute, and ordinance from every nation, state, city, and township on Earth. Millions of pages of often contradictory, sometimes absurd, frequently incomprehensible regulations. Then came the tax codes. The alien computers, already struggling with the virus, tried to process and categorize this information. After all, if they were going to administer Earth, they would need to understand its legal systems. The result was chaos. Alien administrators trained to bring order to conquered worlds found themselves looking at a legal and bureaucratic maze that made no sense. Supreme Coordinator Vexhal found himself in an emergency session with the Galactic Council's Board of Administrators. The humans have 7,000 different languages. One administrator reported, his tone suggesting deep distress. They have over 200 governmental systems, many of which claim authority over the same territory. Their economic systems are mutually incompatible. They measure things in units that don't correspond to any logical base system. Can't we just impose our own systems? Vexhal asked. We could try, another administrator replied. But based on their history, they'll simply ignore our systems and continue using their own. We'd need an enforcement officer for every 3 humans just to maintain basic compliance. As this discussion continued, humanity launched its final gambit. Admiral Chen appeared on every screen in the alien fleet simultaneously. The virus had given humanity access to their communication systems. Supreme Coordinator Vexhal, members of the Galactic Prosperity Council, she began. We have a proposal. Vexhal appeared on her screen looking somehow weary despite his alien features. Speak. Leave Earth alone and we'll leave you alone, Chen said simply. Try to conquer us and we'll make your existence a living nightmare. We'll spread throughout the galaxy like a plague. We'll infiltrate your systems, corrupt your orderly processes, and turn your Prosperity Council into a chaotic mess. She paused, letting that sink in. Or, she continued, we can be neighbors, trade partners even. We have things you might want. Our biological immunity systems, our unconventional thinking, our ability to survive and thrive in chaos. You have technology and knowledge we could use, but it has to be a relationship of equals. You're barely spacefaring, Vexhal protested. You're centuries behind us technologically. Were, Chen corrected. We're centuries behind. We've learned a lot from your crashed ships. Humans are very good at reverse engineering. Give us a few years and we'll be knocking on your doorstep anyway. The question is whether we arrive as friends or as the neighbors from hell. The Supreme Coordinator was quiet for a long moment. Around him, his administrators were all talking at once, presenting reports of system failures, biological hazards, and bureaucratic nightmares. You're insane, he finally said. Your entire species is insane, Chen smiled. Probably. But we're also persistent, creative, and absolutely devoted to our freedom. Those aren't bad qualities in a neighbor. The council will need to deliberate, Vexhal said. Take your time, Chen replied. But maybe do it somewhere else. Mars is nice this time of year, but I hear the outer planets are lovely too. 3 hours later, the alien fleet began to move. Not toward Earth, but away from it. They took up position near Jupiter, far enough to be non-threatening, but close enough to observe. A week passed. Then finally, a single alien shuttle approached Earth. It bore Supreme Coordinator Vexhal and a small delegation. They met with Earth's leaders at the United Nations building in New York, which had been hastily repaired after the attack. The Galactic Prosperity Council has decided, Vexhal announced, that Earth will be designated as a protected autonomous zone. No council forces will enter your system without permission. In exchange, humanity agrees not to spread its unique approach to governance to other council worlds. And trade? President Williams asked. Limited trade will be permitted through designated channels. We're particularly interested in your biological adaptation capabilities. You seem to have developed immunities we lack. And we're interested in your propulsion technology, Admiral Chen added. A fair exchange. Vexhal's 3 eyes focused on her. You realize this is unprecedented. No world has ever successfully resisted council integration before. Well, Chen replied with a slight smile. Humanity has always been good at setting precedents. The treaty was signed that day. Earth remained free and independent, recognized as a sovereign world by the Galactic Council. It wasn't conquest or submission, but something neither side had expected: compromise. As the alien delegation prepared to leave, Vexhal pulled Admiral Chen aside. Tell me honestly, he said. Could you really have defeated our full fleet if we had committed everything? Chen looked him directly in his 3 eyes. Honestly? Probably not. But we would have made it so costly, so chaotic, and so utterly frustrating that you would have wished you'd never heard of Earth. Sometimes, Supreme Coordinator, the best victory is making defeat too expensive for your enemy to afford. The alien made that sound that might have been laughter again. Humans, you're going to be trouble for the galaxy, aren't you? Count on it, Chen replied. But interesting trouble. As the alien shuttle departed, Earth's defenders stood down. The crisis was over, but the real work was just beginning. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy not as conquerors or conquered, but as something far more dangerous, unpredictable neighbors who refused to play by anyone else's rules. The Galactic Council would spread the word throughout their territory. Earth was off limits, not because it was protected, but because dealing with humans was simply more trouble than it was worth. And somewhere in the galaxy, other species under Council rule heard about the small blue planet that had said no and made it stick. Earth's message was clear. We're here. We're weird and we're not going anywhere. Deal with it. The age of humanity's isolation was over. The age of humanity's galactic reputation as the species you don't mess with had just begun.